Hey guys, so I haven't filmed in a while. I've just been busy doing schoolwork and cleaning and just stuff around the house, but I figured I better film. My son is taking a nap, so I figured it was the perfect time. And ignore this. I threw a jacket on over my hoodie because I'm wearing a school hoodie and it says my school on it, and I was too lazy to take it off, so I just put a jacket over it, and it looks really bad, but whatever. So I remember I ended off talking about how I got my first charge for stealing out of cash register. So I'm gonna pick up there, and then I don't know. I'm gonna go until like about 10 minutes and then or 15 or and then whenever that time is just where I'm gonna stop. So I stole out of the cash register. I got a charge and I had a couple court dates. They kept continuing it, pay some fines, non-reporting probation. It wasn't a big deal to me. We stayed clean, me and Kay, still for a while after that, and then we just fell off. We got bored. We obviously didn't get the proper treatment, so we just went back to using, and we were buying from the same person, the neighbors. Well, they weren't our neighbors anymore because we got evicted and moved in with his grandmother, but we were still driving there every day and hanging out with them like they were our friends. Okay, yeah. So we were using heroin, smoking. I remember during this time we smoked a lot of crack, hotel rooms, just stupid stuff. And then this is how I got my first felony charge. So we were driving to their house, and we went to their house to get some heroin, and I feel like I've lost my groove because I haven't filmed in a couple of days, but I'm gonna keep going. So we went there, we picked it up, we bought about $20 worth, maybe $30 worth. We did a little bit, and we wanted to hang out. We were bored. They were like, do you want to smoke this blunt with us? And I'm like, oh my God, I haven't smoked since I became a drug addict. Yeah, that sounds cool. Let's do it. And Kay was like, we should leave. And then he was like, no, I want to smoke too. So we stayed and we started smoking a blunt. And then the girl, this was a couple, the neighbors, and the girl, she was like, I feel like they're gonna like break the door in. And we're just like, oh, you're just smoking crack, you're just delusional, whatever, like you're just out there. We didn't believe her, and we were all just smoking and having a good time and laughing. And then about 5 minutes in, we hear, and we're like, oh, who's at the door? Who's here? Well, they it was a SWAT team, and they kicked the door in. And this was a small 1-bedroom apartment. They came in with guns, pointed them all at our faces, and told us all to get on the ground. So at this time, I had put the dope in my wallet, and in my wallet was my ID, Kay's food stamp card, a bunch of other of his items, some of my items. Like, we shared it because he didn't really carry a wallet. So when they came in, I threw it on the ground. Well, it wasn't even in my possession when they came in. It was just on the ground. And so they put us all in the hallway, in chairs. They have guns on us. We can't move. We can't like do anything. They did let us smoke a cigarette. Like, somebody had to hold it to our mouths because we were handcuffed. So they are searching the whole house. They find needles, pills, they didn't find any heroin because they had sold it all. The only heroin they found was the little bit of heroin in my wallet. And so they pulled me aside and they questioned me about it because my ID was in the wallet. And in my head, I'm thinking, well, I'll just take the charge because Kay's grandma won't get him out of jail. Like, he's been to jail a lot. Like, she's not going to help him. She'll help me. He'll figure it out. He'll get me out. Like, I will be out. So they pull him aside, and the whole time, me not knowing, he's telling them it's all mine. That he doesn't even do heroin. It's all mine. Rolled on me. Didn't claim it. Didn't even, like, try to, like, do anything about it. Just blamed it all on me. So I go to jail. They let me and the girl, the neighbor, ride in the same cop car, and we're just crying. She's been to jail multiple times. This is my first time ever going to jail, being in a cop car. And, well, no, I was in a cop car before, but I knew I wasn't going to jail. I knew that I was going to jail. It was about 11 o'clock at night. It was late. It was dark. So I'm just crying and crying and crying, and I just feel in my head like, please, Kay, just please get me out. I'm praying. And so he convinces his grandmother that I got a weed charge, a felony weed charge, that it's like a $500 bond for a weed charge. She believes him, gives him the money. About a day and a half later, I'm out. Thank God. I'm put on felony probation. I reported when I got out, and I didn't report again for a long time. Or no, wait, that's a lie. I was on pre-trial. So I got let out on bond, but the stipulation was pre-trial services. So I did report. We didn't stop using. I was dirty 12 out of 13 times on pre-trial services. And then, so I have another court date a couple months later after I'm dirty 12 out of 13 times on pretrial services. And I feel like I'm missing a lot to this story. Like, why can I not remember? Because a lot happened in between these times. Like, Kay... Oh, okay. This is a big part of the story, and then I can't believe I forgot. But, so when I get out of jail, me and Kay continue to use. We're using. Well, finally, his grandmother has enough. She's done with it. She finds out. She knows we've stolen enough money from her. She's like, you're going to rehab, telling him. So he goes to a rehab in Mississippi. They wanted him as far away as possible from me. He left me his car to drive because I had pre-trial, and he knew that. They came and took the car back because they made him sign a power of attorney before he left, and they lied and said it was for one reason. Well, when he left me the car, they came and took it back and said, we don't want any, he doesn't need to talk to you. We don't want him talking to you, whatever. He still calls me from rehab. We're still together. I'm counting down the days for him to get home. Well, this is the first time I ever did methamphetamine. I was hanging out with these people that I knew, and I'm still on pretrial services. And one night, this guy was like, oh, we're going to do some ice. And I thought he was just kidding. I'm like, ha, ha, ha. And he said, I'm really not kidding. And I'm like, okay. So we get there, and he literally has methamphetamine. Me being an addict, I'm not doing heroin anymore. I detoxed off of heroin when Kay went to treatment in Mississippi. I went to my aunt's basement and detoxed off heroin for about a week, and it was terrible. I had a couple Suboxones left over, but not enough. So then I go home to my mother's, and that's when I start hanging out with this guy, and I do meth for the first time. And I never thought I could love a drug more than I loved heroin, but the first time I ever did meth, it was like the best, craziest feeling ever, and I just snorted it to begin with. So I was doing that about every weekend. I would quit enough to go to pretrial, and then I would do it every weekend, and I was snorting it, and then eventually I smoked it, and this happened within the span of a month. And so then I have my court date. My mom takes me. I'm all dressed up. I had been smoking weed too. I didn't do meth for like 4 days before, but then my attorney asked me, "Are you going to test positive for anything if he tests you today?" And I'm like, "Maybe meth." And my mom freaked out. She had a conniption. She was like, "Oh my God, like, are you kidding me?" And I'm like, "Well, I just wanted to be honest." And then I didn't even think about weed. I'm like, "No, just whatever. That's the worst thing, meth." So I go in front of the judge. He tests me, and I'm positive for marijuana. So I go to jail for 52 days for marijuana. Even though I was dirty 12 out of 13 times on pretrial, I got granted probation still. I don't know how. I don't know why, but I did. So I was in jail about 52 days. I'd only been in jail for like a day and a half prior to this, and I get out, and my mom's at work. I have to walk home. It's raining. It's hot. It's terrible. While I was in jail, he came back while I was in jail. He left me. He cheated on me. He got with someone else, whatever. So I'm single at this point, and so I'm out. I'm not on heroin. I'm not on meth. I'm smoking. Like, there is so much I can't remember. Like my memory is shot. I can't like even tell a complete story, because it's all just a big clusterfuck. Like, this whole timeline is a clusterfuck of fuck ups. So I'm on probation. I start hanging out with this guy that I meet on Facebook, and he lives whatever in a nasty ass house with roaches and shit. We're doing cocaine, we're drinking, we're smoking. I'm timing it just right so that I don't get in trouble on probation, thinking that I can beat the system. Well, one night we ran out of cocaine, and there was just roaches and nasty fucking shit everywhere. So I call my dude, the same dude that I did meth with for the first time, and I was like, "Hey, I'm out of coke. I need some meth. I have money. Can you bring it to me?" So he brings it to me. When he gets there, I convince him. I'm like, "Dude, I gotta come with you. This house is fucking sick. I don't want to be here anymore. These guys are weirding me out. Like, this was a bad idea. Can I please go with you?" And he was like, "Logan, like, I don't have anywhere to take you. I'm just fucking out running around doing my own thing." And I'm like, "Dude, I'm begging you." And he said, "Yeah, you're right. I don't want you to feel uncomfortable. Like, I don't want nothing to happen to you. Get in the car." Okay, so I get in the car, and he's like, "I'm taking you to the plug's house." And I'm like, "Okay, hell yeah, that means more dope. Let's go. All right." So he takes me to this house, and this is where I meet the father of my child for the first time. I didn't know he was going to be the father of my child, obviously, but yep, that's how the story begins. And so once we get here, I am still on probation, still being stupid. But once I get here, I basically like move in. Like, I never leave once I get here. I'm like, this is fucking tweaker heaven. I love it here. This is great. We're all doing meth. Like, we're talking, I'm coloring, we're listening to music. Like, I don't want to leave. I have my mom pick me up a couple days later, and she just has a bad feeling about this place. She already knows, and I'm just like, no, it's fine. Like, she doesn't think I'm doing meth anymore. I'm like, oh, I'm just hanging out. This is my friend so-and-so's house. And I go get my clothes, and then she takes me back there, and I pretty much move in. Like, I never leave. And so that's how I met the father of my child. And this video is at 15 minutes. I don't know how interesting this one was for you guys, but I don't want it to be too long. So I promise probably the next video is going to be way more interesting, and I'm going to end there. And I just wanted to get a video up and excuse the bags under my eyes because they are absolutely terrible and I look absolutely dreadful right now, but I wanted to film for you. So thank you guys so much for following and your support, and I will have another video up soon. Thank you.